Hi, it's almost the end of the year, so I decided to make a review of all my coloring books and all my finished pages. And as I have a lot of books, I decided to divide my video into two or three parts maybe. And I start with the books which I don't plan to color until the end of the year. They don't have any winter pictures in them. So let's start with the classics, with the books of Johanna Basford. Johanna's Enchanted Forest was my third book which I purchased, and I tried there a lot of budget pencils like Faber-Castell Eco pencils, then I bought Marco Renoir aquarels, and then I purchased a set of Darwin Colorsoft 72 pencils, and I was in love with that set. Also, I used a lot of soft pastels for the background. I studied there how to make a proper shading or color combos, and it's really nice to see how my pictures looked in the beginning of my coloring hobby. I finished only two pages in the Lost Ocean, and for the both pages I have tutorials for the beginners on my channel, and that was the moment when I started to purchase coloring books from other artists, and sadly that book was left a little bit alone, so maybe one day I will return to it because it's nice sweet book. Here I tested my Faber-Castell Eco pencils, different color combos. The next book is my only book of Milla Marathon. The paper in Ukrainian edition is a little bit tricky, so I bought my first set of watercolor pencils, which were Czech brand Kohinoor Mondeluz watercolors, and that was one of my first tutorials, first videos on YouTube, all done with Kohinoor Mondeluz pencils. This one done with acrylic background, and then different drawing pencils. I tested a lot of materials in this book, for example, metallic pens for the background, and sadly also a lot of pictures are unfinished. I am not very happy with my chosen colors for the background like this. But there is also a couple of pages which I really like this one made with Devon drawings. And And the next book is one of my favorites because that was my first coloring book which I purchased in Paris as a souvenir, and this is the book by Chore, and I started to learn my different tenses in it, and first pages are just awful. I will show you my first ever finished colored pages in this book, and I'm really glad that the last page which I finished in this book, I did it with the watercolors and it looks a lot better, so I stopped temporarily to color this book, and I hope to return to it when I master my watercolors a little bit better. Awful page, just awful. This is the last one done with watercolors, and I like how it looks. And this is my first page, the right one, with the bicycles. All done with different tenses. It's funny to look at it. The next book is by Russian artist Olga Goloveshkina, and the name of the book is The Wind Carries Flowers Away, and it's hard to purchase outside Russia. Pictures are pretty nice, quite detailed, with a lot of botanical pictures. The quality of the book is also very good, with a very thick paper suitable for all pencils and all water-soluble supplies. And I used here mix of pencils like Inktenses, like color softs, like drawings, a lot of soft pastels, and I also have a couple of tutorials from this book on my channel. I do like Manic Botanic by Ziflin and Irina Vinnik, and I love to color in this book with my alcoholic markers like Copic or Pro markers. I finished only 5 pages till now, but I have a picture in mind to color in January or in February, and I really like how I combine my alcoholic markers with pencils, and I am proud of my pictures from this book. I really like the next book. I really like Daria's song art style, but I managed to finish only 2 spreads because they are so detailed and they take a lot of time to finish. But I hope to do more in the nearest future, and I have tutorials for both spreads on my channel. And I have 2 lovely books from the Escape series. The first one is Escape to Oz, and I really love these books. I love the quality, the art style, how paper works both with watercolors and all kind of pencils. So I started from the beginning, like I'm reading a story, but managed to finish only 2 full spreads, and I started another pages, but they are still unfinished. My second book from this series is Escape to Shakespeare's World. I started to do it with my color salts, with my Faber-Castell Eco pencils. I don't know why, but I colored a lot of pages from the Macbeth play. Not my favorite work by Shakespeare, but still I did a lot of pictures from it. And I also used my Faber-Castell art grips. These two pages I did before Halloween. This one done with color salts. And here I tested watercolors. After I purchased my college art from the Escape series, it waited for almost a year for me to start coloring it, and so far I've finished four pictures, 4 pages, and I do like this book, even if the paper is a little bit tricky, very smooth for all kind of pencils, so it took time to make a smooth, nice shading, but I really like designs. I really like how they made collages, and I'm pretty satisfied with all my finished pages, especially in the Asian style. Oh, this one is my lovely sweet Chopin, and I do like this book. It's not an easy book because it has a lot of black areas on the pages, and pages are very detailed. I did almost all pages using my watercolors for the background, and then I worked with the details with my Kohinoor Mondeluz watercolor pencils. But pictures are so cute, so yummy. A little bit vintage, old looking style. Very unique artist style, I think. I did this one a year ago before the last year Christmas. And this is the only page which I did using my alcoholic based markers. I also have the second book from this series, which is Curiosity Chopin. but I finished here only 2 pages. Again, watercolors and Coffee Norman de Luz pencils. I have just one book by Kerber Zanes, his second one, Image Morphine. There are some nice pictures which I finished recently, like this unicorn. That was my first pages and I don't like them. I am much more satisfied with the camel. Or with the royal bird. The castle done with Derwent drawing pencils. It was a very interesting experiment to try them. And I think that it was my first ever done background using watercolors. I have 2 books dedicated to the Game of Thrones. The first one, illustrated by Tomislav Tomic and other artists, and I colored a lot of pages here. I think that I finished more than half of the book. The same technique here, watercolors for the background and then pencils, color softs, ink tents and Mondeluzes. Here I have one of my favorite works, which is Cold Hands. This one. And I really like this picture. This one done with ink tenses. And I learned a lot about using watercolors. Thanks for this picture. In the second Game of Thrones coloring book, I finished just one portrait. It was quite difficult picture. I also have a tutorial, and I hope to return to this book maybe in January or February. Pictures are huge and very detailed. Leila Dewey, The Flower Year is one of my favorite books, and I made recently a separate video with a flip through of my finished pages, so I will leave you a link in the info box below. The next two books are by Maria Trolle. This is her first and third coloring books. My first one is English edition. I finished 3 or 4 pages here. And in the second book I finished only one flower vase. I think it will be my book for the spring or summertime, where we will have a lot of flowers around for the inspiration to return to these books. And in the end of this first part of my review of my coloring book collection, I will show you first 3 books by Hannah Carlson. I have a separate review for each coloring book in my collection. I have a playlist which is called Coloring Book Reviews, and then I have playlists for all my coloring tutorials grouped by the book name. And if you have any question about any picture I finished, leave me a comment below and I will give you back a link to the proper tutorial. I combined a lot of art supplies in this book. I used mostly soft pastels and watercolor for the background. Here I have some pages done with different color softs, with prismas of course, and with ink tenses. And the Dark Drama or Daydreams are my least favorite book of Hannah, and I am very pleased that with each next book the level of Hannah books is higher and higher. My favorites so far are Magical Dawn and Seasons, of course. In the Magical Dawn I really like the bottles, and in the Seasons I like all winter themed pictures. I have couple of my favorite pages in Summer Nights. I like my fire fishes. And then I started to use prismas in this book. This one done with color softs. And this was my second page with prismas. And where are my sunflowers? Sunflowers. Yeah, sunflowers was my first page done with prismas. The second and the third. As I said, Magical Dawn is one of my favorite books. I'm quite satisfied with all my finished pages here. But my favorites are those with the bottles and the picture with the space one. Probably this is my most favorite picture finished so far in Hannah Carlson's books, and I hope that this review wasn't too boring and that you will return to me to review my second and third part of my coloring book collection and finished pages. Thanks for watching, enjoy your coloring, and get back to me in the next videos. Thanks for watching, bye bye.